Hello, I'm Eddie Bravo, and thank you very much for watching Mastering the Twister. I'll be covering all the dominating positions / scoring positions in the 10th Planet Jiu-Jitsu system, including all the transitions and submissions that come from these positions, which I like to call dead zones. The 4 dominating positions, or dead zones, are back control, spider web, the mount, and the truck, and reason you're watching this, the twister. I started training Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu with Master Jean-Jacques Machado at the age of 24. But I did wrestle in high school for a couple years, so I came into my first class with a little more base and balance than your average Jiu-Jitsu newbie. I also came into my first Jiu-Jitsu class with one submission hold that I learned in high school wrestling, the wrestler's guillotine, which later became known as the twister. The twister was a very unorthodox wrestling pen. It was also a submission at the same time. I learned it from a kid named Alex Nukuchia. Thank you very much for that. And I got pretty good at it in high school, but I found it very difficult to get on jiu-jitsu players. In wrestling, the only setup for the twister was from back control. And in wrestling, giving your opponent your back is not necessarily a bad thing. But in jiu-jitsu, it's taboo. So it became very difficult to set up the twister. So it became a mission of mine to come up with as many setups to get the twister in these new jiu-jitsu positions. So the 2 years in wrestling, I got really good on one side, got really good at leg riding with my left leg. Once I got my left leg in and leg rode, getting to this position here, not necessarily the finish. Not getting, the goal wasn't to get to the twister as fast as possible. The goal was to get to this control as fast as possible. He would be defending. It's very hard to get right into the twister in this transition. But the goal was to get in this position, and which later became known as the truck. In the truck, controlling your opponent here is very similar to controlling someone's back here. The end is near. He really only has basically one move to worry about here when you're attacking the back is the rear naked choke. In the truck, we have several different leg locks: calf crank, kamikaze, crotch ripper, banana split, the Raimi here, scissors here, twister. There's a lot going on here in the truck. All right, and we'll go into detail on each one as this progresses. The other dead zones that I discussed before are the mount and spider web. Spider web we'll be covering in depth as well. There's many different submissions here. There's arm crush, arm bar off the arm crush, X break, douchebag, Paulo feel hole. Many different submissions from spiderweb. Very important to master as many submissions from spiderweb. Very important to master is the back and the truck. Those are all the dead zones. Very important to be able to transition through all the dead zones. We're in the truck here. If the leg locks aren't happening, the twister's not happening, we transition smoothly to the back. Rear naked choke's not happening, we need to transition smoothly to spiderweb. Spiderweb's not happening, we can go back to the back. And then we transition back to the truck. Very important to be able to transition through all the dead zones. If he's on his back and we're in the mount, very important to transition from. There's spider web here, and then we can go back to the back. Suppose he catches our foot, we go to the back. He gets on all fours, we go to the truck. This is not working, then we go back to the back. He gets on all fours. We swim back to spiderweb. Traditional jiu-jitsu This is regular side control here. Your opponent can do three things. He can turn away from you when someone has him in side control, but that's taboo in jiu-jitsu. He's giving his back, so no one's going to turn away.